Hustlers 10 Commandments in here as well.
That's right, all three of them.
Wow.
I gotta go over this Ten Commandments, man. This Ten Commandments is off the chain.
Yeah.
We gotta discuss it, and we can't go into each one per hour or anything. We don't have the time, but we gotta talk a little bit about each particular one. So can we do that, Mr. Sean Gar?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
How about this? Pick the top three, and we'll make the rest of them work for the rest.
Okay.
The rest of your audience
All
work.
right.
They go to
All right,
hustleuniversity.org, go to the website, and check out the rest.
All right. Okay, we'll start with number one. Your network is your net worth. I'm going to say it again. Your network is your net worth. Where did that come from? Explain that to me.
Well, your network is your net worth expounds on the idea that, first of all, it helps attack the misunderstanding that money is the greatest asset that we have. A lot of times we spend our time, seeking money, but money is not the greatest asset we have in our lives. The greatest asset in our lives is people. People are our greatest asset, or they can be our worst liability, depending on how we choose. So the first fact is understanding that the power is in people. People are the world's greatest natural resource. Beyond gold, beyond diamonds, and any kind of money is people. Now, the other part of that is understanding that we have the power to select the people that are in our network. People are assets or they're liabilities, depending on how we choose. So some of you out there right now, you know there's people in your life that's a liability, they're bringing you down. Whether it's financially, they're borrowing money from you all the time. They're always bringing drama into your life. Your lady or your man is bringing drama, heartache and pain. You got people that's always in the criminal justice system. You always got to bail them out, or always got to go on court for them. All that, that's a liability. Get rid of them. There's also people in your life who are an asset. There's people that bring joy into your life, that have resources that you need to tap into. So we do. There's an activity in the book, The Hustler's 10 Commandments for Network is your net worth, to help people better access that. But understanding that people are your greatest asset or your worst liability, depending on how you choose. Your network is your net worth.
Okay. What is the other commandment?
Just pick any. You don't have
Just
to-
pick any. Just pick any.
Okay, I love this one.
Because I like how the way he broke it down, and I just want to hear.
Damn.
Yeah, I just want to hear more.
Okay.
You know.
I love this one. Everything, because this really follows with me. Everything is negotiable. Everything.
That's right. Everything's negotiable. Everything. Now, of course, we're not talking about the Creator's word, but if it's man-made, if a man made it, a man can change it. A lot of people believe that, when they get a contract, or if somebody gives you a price on something, or says, tells you something that it's in stone. The fact is that it's not. Okay, everything is negotiable. I don't care if you go into Kmart, you go to Walmart, everything is negotiable. The question is, are you in a position to negotiate? And so the point is, you have to understand that everything's negotiable. If you're given a price, a contract, there is an opportunity for you to change that if, on the other side, you will have something of value or worth that you can exchange for that and have the power to negotiate. My point is, I'm not trying to tell people to do dirt or do crime and try and get away with it. But my point is this. The idea of understanding that everything's negotiable really comes down to the fact that in life you should never say you can't. Right? In life you should never say you can't. You should always train your mind to ask the question, how can I?
There you go.
All right, now it's very important that you understand this, people that are listening or watching. Never say you can't. Never accept can't. Always train your mind to ask the question, how can I? Think about it. When the Wright brothers said, I want to make an airplane, everybody told them what? You can't do that. Man can't fly. And if they accepted that, then we would never have an airplane today. So those brothers, those guys, they said, you know what? I'm not going to accept I can. I'm going to ask myself the question, how can I? And they put their brains to work and figured out a way. Think about Dr. King, for example. When Dr. King said he wanted to lead a movement and change the laws during the Civil Rights Movement, how many people you thought came to him and said, King, you can't do it. It can't be done. Right? If he accepted I can't, then we would never have, the changes that we had in society today. So my point is, Dr. King, the Wright brothers, and all people that made change in this world, Barack Obama,
there you go.
Understand that everything is negotiable. Everything.
That's hot.
All right, I'm going to do one last one. Okay. It takes dough to make bread.
So that's a lot of people's favorite. It takes dough to make bread. Hustler's commandment number 9. Of course, you have the first reference of understanding that it takes money to make money. And yes, it does. It does take money to make money. It may not always take your money, but it takes money. Right? The other point is this. but even deeper than, it takes money to make money is the idea that it takes effort. It takes something to get something. Nothing comes from nothing. So whatever you want in life, you have to be willing to invest in it. You have to get the dough in order to make the bread. You have to put in the work if you want the success. And so it is the idea that you have to, you reap what you sow. And so that's really the idea behind it takes dough to make bread. A lot of people in our society got sold the idea that you can make money without using your own money. They talk about OPM, right? Other people's money.
Right.
And that idea was very dangerous, and that's part of the reason why our society, our economy crashed.
Yes.
Is because everybody's like, oh, you know what? Robert Kiyosaki, I said his name, that's right. Robert Kiyosaki and his rich homeboys went around telling, poor people that, rich people don't use their own money. We use other people's money. So they sold the idea to the average person that they should use other people's money to get the things that they wanted. Well, first of all, the average person was not trained properly as to what to do with the money. They weren't trained properly of how to utilize the money, how to build the business, and so on and so forth. So they went around borrowing money, trying to get their houses and start their businesses and such, and then they failed, and they couldn't pay the money back. And that's why we went into this recession that we have today. The whole idea of OPM, trying to break the rule. The rule is it takes dough to make bread. So understand the rules. If you understand the rules, you will always win. If you don't know the rules, you will what? Lose. And that's how it goes. The Hustler's 10 Commandments.
Wow. See,
I'm very intrigued.
I gotta say this. Since we're in a voting season and everything, because we're going to have a new president. I mean, just how you broke it down with that, and from my interpretation of what Romney's saying, I may be saying it wrong, but he's basically trying to use the richer way of the OPM, because he wants to make sure that his buddies with the money, keep the money and don't worry about the people who don't have the money, because that's your own problem. So that's why he said what he said a couple weeks ago. Talking about you depend on the government with food stamps and everything else like that. So I'm like, okay, you're not going to try to figure out how to help those people, maybe trying to provide education or provide job opportunities, some kind of job training to help them not depend so much on the government. You just want to say, you do what you got to do. I got to do what I got to do for my folks.
Well, a few things about that. Can I speak about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so a lot of people, this election is coming down to two different ideals. The Republican Party at this point is marred by the idea that they put profits first. The Democratic Party puts people first. And that's what you see in the big fundamental difference between the two parties. One puts profits first, the other one puts people first. But what a lot of people don't understand about the Republican Party is that they have a real bad, I feel sorry for them because they have a bad reputation. What a lot of people don't know is that the Republican Party was actually built by anti-slave abolitionists.
Right.
So the Republican Party was the party that was built trying to free people. You understand? It was built trying to free black people.
Yeah.
You look at the Republican Party today, and you don't see no black people. Okay? So first and foremost, I want to make sure that everybody understands what the Republican Party was built on was the idea of freedom. However, the problem for them is they want the whole idea of freedom sounds good, and it's a good sell, but freedom and individuality and all that kind of stuff. But because the Republican Party is now, the base of it is old white men, is stale, male, and pale, as they say.
50s, 40s, and 50s.
What they're trying to do is really the old guard trying to hold on to everything that they amassed over the years by exploiting other people. So the idea sounds good in theory, but in actual practice, what they're saying is we want to have the freedom to continue to rape, steal, and exploit other people's ignorance, and then leave y'all, and then again, benefit from the profits, and we don't care about you people. What Obama represents is say, look, he understands. He says, look, we know how you made your money. We know how you made your money. We know that you guys want smaller government so that y'all can continue to cheat, lie, and steal like you've been doing. And so, you know what? We're not going to allow that. So we're going to put government in place to protect the average person from you guys, from you guys that have been lying, cheating, and stealing. And we're going to spread that that wealth that you amass based off of exploiting people to those very same people. And that's what they're fighting about right now. That's what this is all about.
Yes, it is, because I mean it's a trip, because the thing about that I feel, I'll say at least the average person who really understands Barack Obama, you gotta understand, it was one of us. When he came up through his education, he did not have a silver spoon in his mouth. He had to fight everything to get where he's at now, including to being the president. You know, none of his family members or anything, even with his wife, Michelle, were not in the government setting. They were not into a high class setting. They were, you know, Michelle was probably a little bit more well off than Obama was. But the point is that he had to fight to get to where he is. You know, he had a long way of getting to where he is right now, and I feel more related to him. This is the first president that I could feel I could relate to, because he's been there where I've been there. You know, that's the thing I like about a president. So if someone else comes in, like a Romney or somebody else who has, you know, a lot of money and whatnot, I'm not gonna relate to him, because you're not gonna understand where I'm coming from. That's what I don't care if Obama's black. If he was white, at least I can relate. Bill Clinton had a little bit of a silver spoon in his mouth, but it wasn't, you know, like how the Bushes were or how Reagan was or anything like that. You know, so to me, if you want someone to run the country, I think that the person is who has been in your shoes, understands your shoes, and knows how you should walk in the future. That's who we should be running the country.
So I guess my question is, since we're talking about the election season, what do you think about what Lupe Fiasco said a few weeks ago about the president and about voting, his stance on voting? What do you think about that?
What'd he say?
What he said, I mean, he basically said, just to paraphrase it, he basically said that he's not planning on voting, he's not going to vote. And, you know, of course, I didn't expect him to not vote anyway, since he once upon a time called President Obama a terrorist. So, you know, and then it then led to him and D.L. Hughley, the comedian, go into it, where D.L. Hughley said a few words towards him and stuff. I mean, you know, we hear you with guarding the Obama versus Mitt Romney. So how do you feel about those that don't go out and vote or not register to vote? How do you feel about those people? Do you think that it's still a right for everyone to vote, or do you think that it's a choice at the end of the day?
Well, first of all, you know, I think Lupe needs to chill out for a bit. I think I don't know what he's doing, and he needs to understand that people are listening to him, people are watching him. He needs to choose his words more carefully. You know what I'm saying?
Kanye West incident.
Yeah, I mean, he just needs to. You know, I mean, because you know, I understand that he at least appears and positions himself as a very intelligent person, and he represents hip hop. So if he represents the intelligentsia of hip hop, it's very important that he represents us correctly. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give a word of caution to Lupe and anybody that follows that guy. Now, with that being said, I understand how he feels about how he may feel about the election, because traditionally, at the end of the day, I believe the government is a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Okay, you got one guy over here, one guy over here. Most of the guys are lying. They don't know what they're talking about, and they can't do what they say they can do. So I understand his frustration, but on the other side, wisdom will help him understand that it is important that we vote. Whether we like either of our choices or not, it's important that we make our voice heard. And the reason why is, if we do not let people know how we feel, then people will assume that we don't care. And when people are seen as people that don't care, then that allows other people to come in and take advantage. So, for example, gentrification, right? We complain that Harlem now, all the white people come back to Harlem and taking over Harlem, and now they have all these high rises, and black people can't live in Harlem. And there's parts in Atlanta that's the same way. You know, white people, rich white people are coming back, kicking all the poor black people out. Gentrification happens because of the same apathy. That's the word I was looking for, apathy. When people don't show that they don't care. So what happens in these communities where we let the community go down to trash, all right? We don't take care of it. We are apathetic and show that we don't care about it anymore.